No offside.
Welcome back to another episode of No Offsides. I'm Dean Dean, your host. Our guest today is another company that is known throughout the roller world. You can spot their uniforms on teams and tournaments or on particular pro teams, even in events like Legends Draft. I want to welcome from Envious Gamewear, Tim Turner. How you doing, man?
I am doing well. How about you?
I'm doing all right. How's the weather in Buffalo?
It's actually a beautiful October. Yeah, October day.
Okay.
About high 70 or low 70s and sun. Can't ask much for much better weather here right now.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
then,
it gets up here. A little
oh,
snow.
so it's beautiful one day, blizzard the next.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I'm on a kick. I'm looking to get apparel companies, brands that have been in roller hockey for however long, you know, companies that people have seen but they might not know about, right? Or might not know of, or their background, and that's what I'm here for. And so, you know, I I follow, you know, I follow Legends Draft. I follow the pro scene, and so I mean, talk about the pro scene this year. By far, best jerseys were the Wings, Envious Wings, hands down. Those are my favorite this year.
Appreciate that.
So between, and we'll get into it, but I have questions about that. I have questions about the planning and how you go through all that. But um, you know, how long has Envious been around? Around just like roller world or just in general?
On paper, it's been around since 2008. Um, I've been doing this for a little bit longer than that. I worked in traditional printing for years, and that kind of got me into the scene a little bit because it was around the time when sublimation kind of was a new thing and not a lot of teams were doing it. It was more of a, if you pick a jersey and whatever colors they have, that's what you use, and you either screen print it or you do whatever you do with it. And I saw a couple. I forgot what the website was. It was probably in '02, maybe '01. You used to be able to buy like Russian hockey jerseys,
Yeah.
and they were kind of a cool look. And a couple of the teams that I played against, they had them, and all the names were in Russian. So it's like, all right, that's kind of neat, but what does it say? I
Yeah.
had cool logos on it, and like something I could probably get into. And being in graphic design, uh, in the print world, it kind of was a pretty easy transition, just going from paper to fabric. And it's kind of using what I learned in the print side of the world, how to you know put a design on paper. Now it's going on fabric, and people are wearing it. So um, basically, if I researched some places and um, did a couple tests with them to see how stuff worked out, and
Okay.
I ended up doing jerseys for a team of mine, and kind of went from there. Once they realized that we can do custom. People were asking me a lot in the local leagues that wanted something fresh, something new, and then kind of went from there.
Okay. And so, um, where is it? Where did the graphic designing come from? Is that something that you were into art growing up, or like is that just something that you came across as like a job and then continue with it?
Yeah. Well, I always liked drawing and things when I was a kid, and kind of grew into it. Like I was more, and I didn't really do anything art particular when I was a kid, but as I started getting older, 16, 17, I worked in print shops, and they had what they call them desktop publishers. They would basically, put um, designs and things together, and um, I liked what they were doing, so I kind of more or less, it wasn't really a title, but I kind of interned with them and kind of learned the ropes, and what to do, and kind of kind of showed my passion with that, and I learned how to do it, and you know, I guess just blossomed out of that, I guess. But
All right. Hey,
yeah,
I mean, everyone's got their own story, right? So it's
yeah,
just kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm just curious because some people are into graphic design because they were whether they were art majors or family business, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you got Envious, right? I mean, what? I mean, is there anything behind using the name Envious, or just clicked, or did you see something?
Um, well, what it initially started as print. Like I was doing just traditional print stuff like flyers, business cards, banners, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I was working in a print shop, and people would commission me to do things on the side because they didn't want to pay the print shop. They wanted somebody to, do what they wanted and
Yeah.
not have to, follow the rules of the print shop. So they would commission me on things, and I started a small company. It started off as Bar Down Creative.
Okay.
So on all the early jerseys, that was the logo that was on most of them, because that's just how I branded at that point. Started getting into other sports as time went on. It's kind of evolved, and I was doing a couple softball jerseys for some teams that I knew, and the name didn't really fit. So I said it's got to change. Something's got to change. So I just did some searching, and I looked for other companies that had similar backgrounds that I had, and just kind of played around with some names and seeing what seemed to work and was more universal. And it just kind of clicked, and I was like, oh, Envious kind of works because people will be envious of the design that I'm making for them. So
Oh, sweet.
so that was the name. I kind of gave it a shot, soft launch, and people liked it and went along with it. So
And here you are today.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, you have Envious. I mean, obviously, do you still do all the designing for all the like whether it's hockey jerseys or ice hockey or other sports?
Yep, yep.
So,
I do all of it. Um, it's been I've tried to get interns a couple times, and it's just tough because I'm very meticulous, and I nitpick my own work. Even after it's done, I'll find something like, ah, damn, I should have changed that. But if I had an intern, which I've had a couple that I've worked with, and it just seemed like I was never, not that I wasn't impressed with what they did, but it was always something that I would do differently.
mhm.
So it's hard. Like I'm still searching. I would still probably welcome one because it does get really busy at times, and I don't like having people wait, a long time for a design. So,
Sure.
having somebody else that had a similar eye to me would help. But it's a tough pick sometimes. But um, yeah, everything at this point has been designed by me, and unless a team has a designer on their team that they want to send a logo in or a concept, we can use that too. But for I would say about 99% of the stuff is done by computer, on
Okay.
by hand, all custom. So
Sweet.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have. I mean, I'm assuming that because you're Western New York, right? So then now you play in that, was it the WNY League?
Yep, West New York roller hockey. Yep.
Yep. And
Eric Hawk and Jason Flowers, former Wings alum. They've been around the game for years, and they're a fun group to be around.
so you're up there, right? I'm assuming you design all their jerseys as well.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, all the league jerseys are done through me. There's obviously some teams that haven't found out yet, or new to the league. They'll just kind of show up with whatever they have, or
Yeah.
they may have a contact somewhere else and they use those jerseys. But that's cool. It's always nice to see different stuff. But yeah,
Because you
majority
get
uses us.
because you guys do the top division has where you have teams, and then you guys do like different. I can't remember. Is it do you pick like different sets of like logos and stuff per
Oh
season,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Like our pro league. Yeah,
yeah,
that's yeah. We actually have a pro league and a minor league. So basically, what happens is we have captain groups, and they draft the players that they want to have on their teams, and it's basically a draft league for the summer. Um, Kind of get you a look at different players that you never played with, or maybe you wanted to play with, or never want to play with again. But kind of evens out the competition. We try to make everything as even as we can. We rate, I actually help out with the minor league
okay,
as far as evaluating talent and getting the players in the right places to make the teams as even as they possibly can be. But we've got a list of themes that we would like to go with. We're kind of following the Legends uh, model with that.
Sure.
when it comes to theming.
That's what I was looking. I was looking for the word theme, and I couldn't grab
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yeah. So every summer we have a new theme. Like this year was because they had the was the Four Nations battle, so we took those designs and made them West New York style.
Okay.
And then I think over the winter we did a minor elite, which was basically a mix of pro and minor because some guys are back at school, some guys are back playing, professional. So, or guys are just in town for the summer, they move back home. So we do like a mix of it during the winter time. And we did, last year we did energy drinks.
Okay.
So we had 6 different teams for that. I think done, I think this is year 4 of it. So, it's kind of a new concept and in the local league, but people seem to like it. It's a fun time, good competition, fun to watch. People that play games before after they come early or stay late to watch the games because they're pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean,
But
you guys have some pretty competitive guys up there, so I'm not
yeah,
surprised.
yeah,
It's the Northeast, and it's
yeah.
a giant hub. So, so you mentioned, and this is one of the things I want to talk about, right? Which is like, Envious Gamewear, and then we're talking Legends Draft, right?
Yep,
Which that has blossomed into like one of the events for the year.
yep.
That you have the same pro guys going to every year, almost every event, right? And so, I mean, how does your relationship with George Brown even start out into coming up with this concept of having themes for a tournament?
A little backstory on George and me. Like we're both from Buffalo. Um, we actually grew up playing in the same rink. It was called Milshire. Local guys will know that as one of the places that you can probably get a staph infection from. But it's now closed. But George was actually a goalie, and we played in the same team for a season. And we got along real well for that. Like we were friends for forever. For since then, we kind of lost touch a little bit as the years went by. He moved around a little bit, and I was busy with hockey and all other stuff like that. So we kind of grew apart a little bit. Um, as I don't know if you remember when he used to coach the excitement team.
Hmm.
They'd gone through a couple different jersey companies and had been, they were fine. They were just looking for sponsorships, and some had moved on to other things. So uh, the year that we started Legends, that was 2016 or 2017. It was around the time where Envious really started to break off and become a little bit more well known.
Okay.
Like people had seen it around, and George had caught wind that I was doing this because we kept in touch a little bit,
Sure.
and we got on a phone call, and he kind of laid out what he was thinking about doing. It was initially supposed to be a fundraiser just for the excitement team to go to the tournaments over the summer, and just the luxury was a luxury for run of the mill guys, maybe not high level players, being able to play with a pro player. So
Okay.
that was they get drafted on a team and play. And the first couple years were like that, and it kind of evolved after the first few years. We added captain groups. We we made we made the captains groups bring goalies, so the goalies were that top level,
Okay.
so it wouldn't ruin the tournament. Say a guy that was like an aluminum iron level goalie playing against pro players, they're
Yeah.
going to get lit up. So that happened the first couple years. We had a couple goalies that weren't really at that level, but they played anyway, and it made the tournament a little bit harder to run. But like I said, George and I had conversations for we talk all the time now, but even back then, like as things were starting, we were trying to find ways to improve it, and that was the biggest addition was having uh, goalies be part of the captain group, so made the competition a little bit more fair, more even.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, then adding the second tier and the third tier to kind of, and then now the prospects with all the kids and everything,
Yep.
it includes everybody. So it just kind of it grew and grew and grew, and now it's blossomed into this nice, beautiful flower. But
I
yeah,
mean, so George now has this tournament, right? And he comes to you, and
yep,
he's like, "Hey, does he come to you with like, here's the like, is this whole theme idea? Is this like something you guys shoot back and forth to each other? Is it something he's like, hey, here's the theme I want to roll with, and then he just says, you use your creativity to create it.
At the very beginning, it just started as kind of a off the wall conversation. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What are your thoughts? What do you think you could do? You know, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. What can we do to make this work? So we started off just kind of shooting ideas around about what it could be. Is it a draft? Is it just a a small tournament? What are we going to do? And we had a few discussions about it, and we came up with the draft. And we were thinking, well, what would get people to come besides being able to play with a pro player? And we discussed jerseys, like maybe if we were able to include jerseys and pants in the cost to help, maybe raise the price a little bit to get people to want to come
Sure.
and have a cool jersey to wear, and just show up and you get whatever you get. Cool. And we were throwing around ideas of, okay, now we've got the idea, we're going to supply jerseys and pants. How are we going to differentiate between them? Are we going to do, we have to think of some kind of a theme. So we thought and thought and thought and thought and went through quite a few conversations about it. And it just kind of evolved. And we're like, hey, let's try Legends of the Hidden Temple. So that was the game show on Nickelodeon that,
Yeah.
people are, doing the obstacles, and like lots of different colors, lots of different logos, have a similar theme throughout it. So we went with it. And that's where the name Legends actually came from, because we started off as Legends of the Hidden Temple, and then the following year, like, well, how are we going to top this? So we had to go and do something else, but we kept the name the same because that's what. Oh, it's a Legends draft. Let's try it. Let's keep it going, and it, like I said, it just kind of evolved into what it is now, just kind of naturally. But George and I and the staff, like, we at every tournament we have a little discussion. Like Wilfredo comes around, Wilfredo.
Oh, Wilfredo, yeah.
Oh yeah. Um, we Nick Splinsky, Denny True. Those guys are, and the girls, and George's cousin. So we all have cousins, I should say, that are there at the tournament. We have discussions all the time about, oh, this would be a cool theme, this would be a cool theme, and we just kind of nitpick, oh, why would this work, why would this not work, and it just becomes just this long discussion, and we figure out what might work, but we still have a list of things that we haven't done yet that we want to do, so we kind of keep it in our back pocket for when we want to try it. um but like I said, like this year, it's for winter we're doing the Flintstones, so that's
Yep.
a neat little theme. But summer we got a pretty cool one cooking. Can't release it yet, but
Okay. Okay.
we'll say it's kind of a throwback to the original idea, but
Okay.
that's as far as I can go.
There's the hint.
Um, and
No,
it's our
yeah.
and it's our 10th anniversary, or 10th event in the summer, so I'm trying to make it, you know, fit the bill
Sure.
and get people excited about it.
So you talked about like kind of like all the ideas that get bounced around, right? So
Hmm.
obviously one goes into like who owns this company, like who owns the branding, right? And then the other one's probably something along the lines like, okay, how many characters are in it, and what can we like how many teams can we get out of this show or game or something like that?
Hmm. There's a lot that goes into that too. A lot of back work with like hand drawing and everything, but and then turn that into computer generated artwork. It's taxing, but it works. Um, but yeah, we dive pretty deep into what the theme could offer.
Okay.
It's like this we did SpongeBob for the summer, and there's tons of characters, so we got to think of what characters are the main characters that are going to get people buzzing, and then also, do those characters work color by color,
Sure.
so we don't have two that are too close, or the same color. But we have a formula of what works, of how many we need, and then we kind of go from there. And then we put our boards together and compare, contrast, and then we have our board, our final board, and we start working on it. But yeah, that's basically how we do the theming.
Okay. So
um,
I mean, it seems like it's a lot of nostalgia too.
yeah, Yep. Yep. Lots of, and it's not just our staff that that brings ideas. Like we have people that message us probably daily, maybe weekly. Oh, you guys should try this theme. You guys should do this theme. Just try this, try that, and we take it into account. We think about it. We listen to our customers and fans, and we think, that might work or that might not work, but we give it the old college try if it's something that we think might be something that'll benefit. But yeah, we're always listening.
Now, is there like you talked about having all these ideas, and then like, you're like, okay, we're going on year 10, right, for next summer. It's like, are you looking at the ideas and you're going, okay, which one's going to be like have the most hype to it for that?
Yep. Yeah, we think about that. We think about what's going to have the biggest pack or biggest punch that we can send out. And also we also think about the size too. Like for winter, it's obviously a little bit smaller. We have sometimes 4 or 5 teams per division,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then we also have a bunch of youth divisions. So we have to base on that too. Like how many youth divisions are we going to have? Are we going to be, you know, like 14U this past year? We had tier 1 and tier 2, and there were I think 4 or 5 teams in each one. So we need to be able to figure out if we have enough characters in the theme for that.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously in the summer they all get specific prospect home and away jerseys, not the actual main theme, but they are themed towards it. Like this year, I think we had for prospects we had the SpongeBob yellow for the the light jersey, and then black was the Doodlebod version. So
Yeah.
um, that was all different from um, what's it called? Um, it's different from how the adults version works, where it's specific characters only.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the designs are flawless. I could say that. And I mean, have you looked at? You've said it before, like how you look at your jerseys even after you make them. You're like, oh, I could have changed that. I'm sure that goes through your head because you're making so many jerseys for this.
yep. Oh yeah, that always goes through my head. Just what could I do? What could I do differently? And that just helps everything evolve too. If I see something I missed, and like I'll think about it later on, and I'll say, all right, well now I'm going to go into the files and see where I could have improved, where I could have done something differently, or you know if there's say a flaw on the pattern. Hey, how could it? Hi, honey. That's my daughter. Hi, Victor. Thank you. All right. Yes, that is SpongeBob. All right. All right. So yeah, yeah, just kind of I'll nitpick it every once in a while. Like I'll see something not that might have just nobody else might see it, but I'll see it and I'll be, I should do this. I should change this.
Okay.
I'll keep it in the back of my mind too if I don't change it immediately. Like this is something I got to pay attention to for a later date. But yeah, it's
Okay.
about
And so, obviously, we're not gonna get the summer release. I'm I'm I'm, I'm upset. No, I'm kidding. But no, I
you tell
mean,
you call George. He'll give you the official answer.
yeah, yeah. But no, I mean, like I said, I just looked at because George just sent out the the quote unquote clearance, right? For orders for all of his extras he has, and of course I had to scoop some up. Um, but so if you're watching, make sure you do that as soon as possible because there's a couple that I tried ordering that are already gone. So
Yep.
if you're interested in picking up some jerseys that maybe you didn't get to go to the event, go ahead and do that. But yeah, no, it's like Legends is awesome. I love when jerseys get released because it's just killer design. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Um, and that's just kind of like if I live because I'm from Jersey, so if I live back home, um, and GA is my Great American Hockey is actually my home rink from when I grew up.
Yep.
I'd be at every event, but unfortunately, I don't live there anymore.
I'll have to
But
come up then.
yeah, well, that's my plan. Is to try and it's usually it sucks too because it's like every year it lands on something happens that I got to go to that
Yeah.
lands on Legends, and I'm like, damn it, I want to go home and go play in it. But soon, hopefully soon, I can do that. But yeah, I mean, because what draws me to it is the jerseys.
Yeah.
And, and also you get competitive hockey. It's draft style. You don't know who you're going to play with. You have a whole evaluation system that I'm like, that's pretty sweet too.
Yeah.
You get the tile time to go like, hey, like this is my skill level, and then there you get drafted by someone, and then you get a sweet jersey and some pants with it. Which to me, I'm like, hell yeah,
Yep. Yeah, the evals that was one of the new evolutions we had a few years ago that just it just made sense because if a lot of guys, if it's a smaller group tournament or if it's a local tournament, most people know who the guys are, but you know their skill level. You don't want to crap on somebody for not being good, but you also um, when if you're from out of town, you're coming to another local tournament. You're just looking at names. It's all sight unseen.
sure,
So we thought that the evaluation skate was 100% necessary just to kind of get guys to show what they can do. And there might be guys that sign up for tier 3. That's happened before. The guys are I'm a tier 3 level player, and they go out in the evals and they get drafted in pro. It's happened a few times, and it's they undervalue themselves, and good for them for being humble. But
sure,
we also have the opposite where guys overvalue themselves, and that does happen because we all want to be the best. We
yeah,
all
yeah,
think, in our mind's eye, we're the greatest. So, but it also helps the captain see who's out there, and this guy could help. We need defense. This guy's a good defenseman. That guy could help us out. Or
sure,
we're a D heavy core group. We need offense. This guy can score. So it just kind of helped make the tournament a little bit more fair, a little more even, and also added an element of camaraderie between the teams too. Just all right, well, I was going to draft that guy. Oh, come on,
yeah, yeah,
it's just someone takes your pick and you're chirping them for that, and
yeah.
but
No,
yeah, it's a cool aspect, and it's always a party. It's
yeah.
always a fun party.
Well, I love it all, man. It's like like I said, it's something that I have yet to experience, and it's something I want to, and I will. But yeah, it's just, and that's why every time I see someone with the the pant, usually it's you go to a tournament and someone's wearing pants, right? And
Yep,
you're like, which one'd you go to, right? And it's like you start talking about them, and it's a conversation piece. You just talk to people, get to know them, who do they know, stuff like that. So, and that's
yep,
just kind of like, and that's why I do this too, right? Is like I'm all about the conversation piece. I like talking just roller hockey in general. You can talk NHL and ice hockey anytime, right? But
yep,
how many people are you going to talk roller hockey with? So
yeah,
you only when you go and play hockey and you
yeah.
play roller hockey, you go and talk to ice guys. They're like, that's stupid. It's like, all right, whatever, man.
Yeah, it depends on where you are.
True,
Sometimes some
true.
guys are a little more receptive about it. Depending on Detroit, you're going to find guys that are more
Yeah,
receptive. Buffalo, probably Chicago, St. Louis. You're going to find guys that play both,
yeah,
and they're open to it. But like I've always said that people get a bad rap about roller because they'll watch like a rec league game and it's two teams that have low skill players. They haven't seen the high level stuff.
yeah.
So when they see the high level stuff, like, all right, now I get the hype. I
Yeah,
mean,
and you could go watch some highlights and stuff like that of some pro plays that are out there on social media, and you're like, that's why you like roller hockey.
yep, yep.
So we talked we talked. Oh, what the heck? Okay, never mind. I don't know what I just did, but
It's all good.
I hit a button. It's something twitched. We're still good though. So, but we talked Legends Draft, and I said I would talk about this because I did say they were my favorite jerseys of the pro scene this summer, and that is your design with the Envious wings, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, their jerseys have always been good, but these by far were the loudest but the cleanest I think I've seen them wear.
Appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
so what I want to ask you is like, what goes for something like that, something that's going to be on like the big scene, right? The pro scene. I mean, is there an extra thought process that goes in that like maybe you're nitpicking a little more, or like,
Oh yeah.
like how do color combination and design and like what's going on the jersey? Walk me through kind of what went through those jerseys.
Yeah. So that green and purple, those are the actual original wing colors.
Okay.
Eric Hawk and I have gone back and forth on these for a little while. We wanted to perfect them because when the wings came back in the pro scene a few years ago for I think it was Palma Pro, they got the invite. We had a set that we made. We'd kind of adjusted the colors a little bit, and it was more of like more of an electric blue and neon green. We kind of went away with the purple for that tournament
Hmm.
to kind of give it like a new brand, a new look. Um, so that was what we went with at first, and then as time went on, Eric was pretty adamant about getting back to the original colors, and I agreed. Like obviously, Black Ice uses purple a lot now, but purple's not really a typical color that you see
Sure.
in roller. I mean, you do see a decent amount for like rec league, but in pro, you've got your traditional main color schemes that you're going to use. Um, but Eric, he's more traditional with how the look needs to be, and I'm on board with that too because it's an old team, vintage team. So we kind of went back and forth with a couple designs. And we had the black jersey, for example, that was free reign. We wanted to do something a little crazier, a little off script, a little more roller style, um, a little louder version, but obviously
Okay.
it was black. Um, so you can only get so loud with it. But like we were kind of thinking about what we could do to make it stand out a little bit more. And the more we talked about it, the more we thought they need different color pants.
Sure.
We need to have purple pants. That's got to be one. We got to have green pants. Those are things that are going to stand out. You're going to see differences, and you're going to have color combinations you can use. Like they use the white jersey with the green pants. They use white with purple, and you can do the purple jersey with the purple pants, or
Yeah.
the purple jersey with the green pants, or the black pants. Um, but they're all the logos that were used were the original ones. Um, there was some slight minor adjustments to make it work. But being like I said, being on the main scene and seeing it on for example for on online or even if you're streaming on TV, um, the one thing that I always worry about is the legibility of the numbers,
Sure.
the logos, making sure everything stands out and kind of you're not guessing what that's supposed to be. So there was some back and forth with that just to make sure that that stuff worked. Um, as far as like the style of the jersey, like we went back and forth with it, and Eric wanted a little bit more of a traditional look. So we had the main big stripe that was in the center of the jersey, and on the sleeves and everything. But
Yeah.
with with me when I'm doing roller hockey jerseys, like it's about the details. A lot of stuff you can't really see from far away, but if you're up close to it and you see it, like wow, never would have thought of doing something like that. There's a lot of different little patterns and little distressing and um, just I guess more of like a grunge look on the inside on the details that give it a little bit different of a look, but still from the distance it looks like a traditional jersey. So it kind of helps the look be a little more cohesive and
Sure.
um, a lot of back and forth making sure everything works. But it's a process, but in the end it makes sense and it works for people. So um, but yeah, I was pretty happy with how the Wings jersey turned out. Yeah,
Yeah.
adding the purple helmets too. That was
That's
nice.
that's what I was just gonna say. I mean, did you know the purple helmets were gonna be added originally?
Uh, at the first conversation we had about going back to the green and purple, that was the one thing Eric said. He's like, all these top teams like Palma, Black Ice, they all have matching helmets. It's like we got to get on there. They got matching gloves too, so we'll get into that later too. We Eric's he just kind of said, you know what, the hell, I'm just gonna buy them. I'm gonna buy the helmets. So we got the helmets. Got a team set of like 20 or so purple helmets. And he's like, let's match that purple. So I got a couple swatches in and made sure that the purple color formulas were exactly or close to exact to what we're looking for. And the green was the same too. So we made sure that everything matched before we even went to the next step. So, it's, it can be a slow process. We started a little bit early because we wanted to make sure that everything looked right.
Sure.
Um, but then we had this idea because I'd started making gloves uh, about 2 years ago. We released the first ones. And that was a process too, getting the right manufacturers to do it and the right cut, the right style, the right feel, make sure it's protective enough. And as he got the purple helmets in, I'm like, do you know what look really good at this? He's like, gloves? I'm like, yep. So we kind of went through and uh, made a couple mock-ups, and we had I had to send the swatches for the jerseys over to my production facility to produce the gloves, make sure the purples matched.
Okay.
So that's how they got the gloves for well they didn't have them for tours. Ugh, not happy about that, but we got to wear them at Narch and State Wars. But yeah, it was a nice little touch that we could add to it to kind of bring everything together.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, between and I was gonna touch, yeah, the gloves were definitely a nice touch. The helmets were, definitely if they rocked black helmets, it would have been a little muted up top. So
Yep.
the purple definitely made the jerseys pop as well. Um, yeah, down to the pants, and it's like you can. I mean, that's why I was looking for the perfect, especially when I did the thumbnail. I was looking for the perfect shot so that I can get to see like the logos on the pants and stuff like that, so
Hmm.
that I could see Envious because I wanted I could have taken their jersey and their logo and just thrown it up there, but I was like, I want to see if I can get a shot with Envious and I could see it on their jersey, and I was like, boom, there it is, I can see it. All right, boom,
Yep.
take that, right? And so yeah, it's the same thing. Like when I look at things, I'm like, okay, can I see the design, especially from afar if I'm watching on TV, where it's like some pro teams, their jerseys are sweet, they look much better up close, but like when you're looking at them, you're like, I don't whose number is that, right?
Yep.
A little too muted. Maybe needed a little more pop for some teams on the jersey numbers for sure. But to each their own. But yeah,
Yeah.
these definitely were like, damn, they're nice. Last year you had Black Ice 2.0 jerseys came out, and Black Ice
Those
comes
are
every
cool.
yeah, those were cool. Black Ice comes out with new jerseys every summer,
Yep.
but like they fluctuate back and forth to like new design, old design.
Yep.
Um,
Who was your
and
second favorite this year?
oh man, I mean, Black Ice old school logo and stuff like that was like, it hit home with childhood and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
those were
Yeah.
sweet.
Campbell hit it pretty good in that. I like those ones. They're cool.
Um, you Pama always has they haven't really swayed away from their recent design. They've kind of stayed similar and the same,
Hmm.
but they always have the flashy helmets, which is kind of sweet.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
It's always a
like
clean look too. They have a very clean, simple. Besides their alternate, it's a little bit more loud, but it's yeah, it's always a real clean look, and I always like that kind of stuff too.
and the Rage Cats, I like their jerseys as
Oh yeah,
well.
yeah. Those are one of my favorites too.
And those guys, I think those came out. They came out with those last year too. They came out super loud on scene with those, and it's like holy crap! Like yeah, that's the thing is right is when someone comes out and you're like they have clean designs usually in pro, but then when
Yep.
they come out loud and clean, you're like those are noticeable.
Yeah, like freeze. Those are cool
Oh
jerseys
yeah,
too.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Trafty did a good job on those too. Like that's a cool look. Color scheme you don't see a lot, and they had actually I think they had the teal helmets and the teal gloves at one point. I don't know if they still do, but those were cool. I was a fan of them. Um,
yeah.
then the
Definitely
Car
kudos to the
Carfield too.
teams. Carshield, yeah.
Fun fact about those, I those were actually designed by me, the new Carfield.
Nice.
But yeah, Haji and Stavi were asking me about it last year. Like, hey, you want to do design for us? I'm like, hell yeah. So
Hey,
that's what those are cool.
that means you're
But
doing
yeah,
something right
that's fun. Like I've known those guys for a while, so it was cool they were able to include me in it, and I was happy to do it.
for
It
sure.
was yeah,
But
that was
yeah,
cool.
I mean, like I said, for me, I'm a Jersey guy through and through. I can't design worth a shit. So, but I enjoy design, and like when I see one, and I'm like, yeah, I need if I can get my hands on one of those, I'll buy one, right? So like,
Right.
but yeah, it's just like, God, if my wife would let me, if I could just have an entire room full of jerseys, I would.
You want to trade? My wife would be happy to get rid of some of my jerseys. I've got thousands and thousands of jerseys in my basement just from this time I started. Yeah, I would if there's something cool that I liked, I would make an extra sample and I'd keep it in the basement and just just as kind of like my own personal scrapbook.
Okay,
But yeah, but it's kind of overloading and overflowing, and I've been slowly and begrudgingly cleaning it out because I need more room, and some of the older stuff isn't as cool as the newer stuff, and just I don't have the same feel that I had for it
sure.
before. So I'm okay to let some of it go, but I still keep some of the cooler ones just to have. And but yeah, my basement is filled with jerseys, as you could probably imagine.
I can just imagine just from the collection behind you.
Yeah, yeah, it's just some of the ones in the office, just kind of just hanging out. Um, I got my some of the some of the fun ones that I did, teams I played on, then also I got the ice hockey ones behind me for some of the college teams I work with, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna say you obviously you do roller hockey, but I see that you do a lot of the AAU ice hockey, college ice hockey teams.
yeah, always repping, but yeah.
So like so through how did that something like a deal like that where you're working with like college ice hockey teams, how did that partnership or sponsorship ever come, how whatever that relationship is, how did that come to fruition?
That started off because I actually coach at Buffalo State, and we, it started off as a, hey, we need an alumni to go and coach this team, so we have, so we can play in this league. So that was the school's rule. It needed to be someone that went to the school to be part of the team. So
Okay.
I was a shoe in for that, so it worked out. But they had no jerseys. I'm like, well, I do ice hockey jerseys too, so let's get it going. So we made our first set, and just like what happened with when I was younger, my first roller designs, people like, oh, that's cool. What can we do? So I got a couple other schools locally to jump in, and we had our local league, the UNYCHL. Um, we had about 5 or 6 teams in that jump on board. So they got jersey, socks, shells, everything in bags. They got it all from me. So as that grew, we'd start playing teams from across the state, and then that grew as well. And then as we joined the UNYCHL, joined with AAU college hockey, which at
Okay.
that point was the Collegiate Hockey Federation (CHF). It was like a rival league to ACHA. Um, the guys that ran that, they were they were pretty impressed with some of the stuff. I actually saw them in Lake Placid because I was coaching our team there, and there was a beer league tournament that was happening in the same building, and they were all using my jerseys for the tournament. It was a draft style tournament,
Nice.
and they're all using it. Then they had my Buff State team, and then I think we were playing Brockport. Every single rink that was being used in Lake Placid was wearing my jerseys, and they're like, "That's your company, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, we got to have a conversation. So and I became a trusted supplier for them, and now I was doing all their merch and all their the staff shirts, the quarter zips and hoodies and everything, and like for nationals, everything was my brand for the staff, and kind of evolved. And now I've got a lot of teams in the AAU college hockey, and got some in ACHA as well. But
Okay.
it's kind of just like everything else seems to just kind of blossom, and
Sure.
gotta keep it going.
Well, it must speak to quality. It must speak to like customer service and all that stuff too, right? I mean,
Oh yeah,
you just don't get these sweet deals and this this exposures for just, hey, here's my jersey, buy it.
oh yeah, you got to work at it pretty hard. I mean, there's a lot of research and development that goes in. I mean, if you look at the very first ice hockey jerseys I ever put out for beer league teams, you wouldn't even recognize it compared to what they are now. The materials that's used, like there's tons of different materials. One thing I tried to do my best with was getting the sublimation ice hockey jerseys to match the style and feel of a Stitch jersey. So you're not losing the quality of just because you're getting a sublimation jersey. It's not
Sure.
like a cheap piece of crap that you're getting. It's you're getting an actual, you know, piece together jersey. Everything's made from scratch. Like there's different materials in it, like the vented armpits, the dimple mesh on the shoulders.
Yeah.
You can fully customize the sublimation jersey the same way you can do with a Stitch jersey. But obviously, there's some people like one more than the other. Some people like combination, but yeah, it's just a lot of recent research development. The socks, even the socks, it did the same amount of things with that. Just finding things that I liked out of different materials, different companies like CCM and Bauer have a little bit different sock.
Yeah.
Under Armour has different sock than we do, but there's pieces of each one that I liked, and we kind of meshed it all together. Um, the same thing with our pants for roller. Same idea. We just kind of try to make sure that everything is what we want. The fit is right. You know, like we're in the middle of right now with roller, and kind of going on a tangent here.
You're
Um,
fine.
um, with the roller pants, like it's been a process. We're trying to redevelop and make another style pant. Like the Legends pant is always evolving. That's one that people get at Legends. It's we've added some more strength to the knees and some double stitching across the knee to kind of stop with the wear. But we
Okay.
also now are working on a new style pant um, that's going to be a little similar, a little different, but also equally durable
Okay.
and equally light. So it'll be something that teams can really go with, and if they want one style, they can go with it. If they want the other, they can do that too, whatever they prefer. Then on top of that, the sizing, the pant sizing, we're kind of going into um, the new trend nowadays for pants, not necessarily roller pants, but just traditional pants, joggers. You have your small, medium, large waist, but then you have different lengths you can get. You can get
Sure.
a tall, short, or regular. So we're trying to implement that into our roller hockey pant styles too. So now you got a tall, skinny guy. They can get a small waist pant, but a tall.
Yeah.
It'll look good. It won't. They won't have super short legs.
Yeah. So they won't be gapping like this at the bottom of
Right.
their legs. Yeah.
Yep. So we're trying to make sure everything's customized and get people that custom feel and just kind of like I said, everything evolves. It's a research, development, and implementation. It's lots of process, a lot of back work, but it's all worth it in the end because if people are happy with what they get, they'll keep coming back.
Sure. Absolutely. So we have learned about the company and a little bit about you, but here's more of the angle of me asking questions about you. Okay, I mean, so you obviously play hockey. You obviously play roller hockey. I mean,
Yep.
what got you into playing hockey?
Um, Actually, one of my best friend to this day. When we were little kids, we used to play street hockey and or driveway hockey. And his dad was a big hockey guy. My family, not so much. They weren't really into it as much, but my friend was, and I also found the love for it at a really young age. And I was really begging my parents to get me on skates and get me working and get me on the ice. And finally, they got me into it, and just kind of grew from there.
Okay.
That was ice to start, and obviously, roller hockey wasn't really anything back when I was 5 6 years old, but um, when I met George Brown, we're I think maybe 10. But he was a goalie, and I was on. It was a roller hockey rink. It was on sport court, so it was a kind of a new thing for me trying to learn that. And actually, my parents liked that more because of the less physical contact. Because I wasn't a very big guy when I was a kid. I was small. I was a runt.
Okay.
Um, so you know, as I grew up, I was still kind of short. So as I was playing ice hockey, it was a little more physical. I'd get buried here and there, and my parents couldn't bear to watch that, as any parent probably wouldn't.
Sure.
But when I play roller hockey, they'd come to the games a lot, and they'd be excited because I could do those things and not get killed for it. So it was just something that kind of you know became something I was passionate about, and my parents followed me through it. So yeah.
So, what number did you choose growing up, and do you still wear it today?
Um, when I was a kid, I was a huge Pat LaFontaine fan.
Okay.
He was obviously 16, and I had it for my first year, and then I went to the next level, and the coach's kid wore 16. So that was the end of that. So I couldn't wear 16 anymore, but I kept the same numbers. I just flipped them upside down, and I went to 91. So I was 91 for up until my sophomore, junior year in high school, and then um, Sergey Fedorov was huge. Alexander Dag were those guys that people wore 91. It wasn't
Yeah.
a super common number, and then people think I was a lot younger because 91 was not my birth year. I'm actually 84, so a little. So I was kind of getting offended. Oh, people think I'm this kid, I'm this child, or I'm a big Fedorov guy. I liked him, I liked his game, but that wasn't why I wore it. So I said, all right, I got to make a change. So as you can see in most of the jersey designs now, it's a 26. That's a number I've been with since I was 16ish, and I've
Okay.
had that ever since. But yeah, that was big Marty St. Louis fan. I enjoyed his game and the grit that he had at a shorter stature. But that was the reason I decided to change to that. Wasn't a really super common number, so I went back. I went to that and haven't gone anywhere since.
I enjoyed it more on the Bolts and not so much the Rangers.
Yeah, I can imagine New Jersey guy, right?
Yeah. So, um, final question: What do you have a? Forgot how I want to phrase this. What is a like? What's your go-to hockey story?
My go-to hockey story.
Like favorite story to tell, favorite memory.
I mean, there's one that I love and also hate. Was with my knee. When I kind of, I went tore my ACL and shredded it. Um, that's why I hate it because it kind of ended my potential for going anywhere. Um, but I was, playing in a beer league game and guy need me and my leg just kind of shredded, went backwards, and I guess I blacked out after it happened because uh, according to the tale, I got up and I went to fight the guy. I don't remember a thing of that, but that was allegedly what happened.
Okay.
Live barn wasn't a thing back then, so I can't actually go back and fact check. But I guess when I got up, I stood on that leg and just buckled and went
Ooh.
face first. So I don't really remember really what happened after that, but I remember waking or being or getting coming back to and being in the locker room with my shin guard off and like what the hell just happened? And they told me it happened. I was like, why am I hurting so much? So, um, that I mean that's a crappy situation, but it was one that I can remember that I like to tell. But
Okay.
um, I don't know. Not nothing really specific that I can really say that I liked about playing. Like I just love the game. I've always loved it. Um, so I guess there's no real specific hockey memory that I can say that I tell more than the other.
Through your uniforms, like creating them, have you met some pretty like let's just go with the word famous like hockey players or
Oh yeah, yeah. I've met a lot of famous guys, well, famous in the hockey world guys.
okay,
I've actually gotten the privilege to work with some of them. Specifically, actually, Steve Alexi.
okay,
Um, Steve played in Legends a few times. Like I'd known him around the rink a little bit too. Not to like a real personal level, but just like a hey, how you doing sort of thing. Just shoot the shit real quick, and um, he just was such a nice guy. Like I was like, I gotta know this guy. So I'd seek him out at Legends, and we would talk a little bit. Um, then I hadn't seen him in a long time, and when College Hockey Federation or Collegiate Hockey Federation (CHF) changed to AAU college hockey,
mm,
the executive director was actually very good friends with Steve, and we were in Philly for nationals for AAU college hockey nationals, and I was in the lobby talking to one of the executives just about some stuff that was in the war room about what we're doing for graphics and this and that, and walking through the door is Steve. I'm like, he looks at me, I looked at him like, what are you doing here? And what are you doing here? It was like the Spider-Man thing. And he and I went to the coach's room and talked for about 2 maybe 3 hours, just catching up and seeing how everything's been, like just talking about hockey stories and just things that that we had been at together. And coaches are walking in and out. Oh, that's Steve Alexi. You won the Cup of Pittsburgh. Blah blah. So he's, we're getting interrupted every once in a while. Just you'd have a conversation with people he knew too. On top of that, so we just from there we kind of became friends again and just
okay,
talked about what the next step was. And he runs ESE up in Michigan and I think in Florida as well. And for a while he'd been trying to get me involved with that for getting the jerseys for their teams. And actually just this year we connected again, and I did the jerseys for his entire league. So
okay.
yeah, Steve's a great guy. I mean, he's probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He's a true gentleman, like uh, big fashion guy. He's got always wearing a nice hat, no socks in the shoes and the loafers. He's a dude's a peach. One of my favorite people. One of my favorite people, for sure. But he also introduced me to some of his friends that he played with, and just that's also brought some business, and also kind of evolved in with the relationships and everything. And it's I'm very appreciative of him for doing that. But he's always says like I prefer the quality and the relationship, and I want to make sure that everything is good with my league. So I'll keep passing you around. Like, I appreciate that a lot. And he's definitely he's a hockey guy. That's what he is. He's a great dude, great guy. But yeah,
Well, that
yeah.
is that's awesome. Um, so before we depart, is there anyone that you want to shout out? You want to shed some light on?
Um, I mean, you can shed some light on Blake Bennett there, just
Okay.
getting the 2-way contract with the Wranglers and the Rapid City Rush from the East Coast and the AHL. Good for
Okay.
him. I've known Blake for a long time. Obviously a Wings guy, so I know him and his brother Shane real well. Um, you know, obviously we talked about Hawk and Flowers from West New York Roller and George. All those guys gave me opportunity to kind of build my business, and I can appreciate them for what they've done for me. And you know yeah, that's
All right.
they're great people to know.
Well, if you're watching, make sure you hit the follow button, subscribe, leave a comment. I like reading those. And in roller hockey, if you're forechecking, don't let up because there's no offsides. I'm Dan Dean. Tim, appreciate you, man. Thanks for joining me.